So I went to bed at about 11:30 that night. When I went to bed, it was a severe thunderstorm warning. There was no tornado warning or watch or anything at that point. There were no warning sirens that sounded. And by 10 minutes after 12, midnight, a tornado hit. The Red Cross came to me. I was reaching out to them to see if there was a list of survivors, because first and foremost, I wanted my daughter to know that we were okay. I knew where my son was in the midst of all that. I had seen my husband, but I never did see her. And as I'm in the hospital seeing my husband for the first time, and his prognosis wasn't good, my pastor was there. I said, I've been calling the Red Cross. I haven't heard anything about Stephanie. And he said, they didn't tell you. And she didn't make it. So that was when I heard that news, trying to get my head around the fact that my husband was dying and now my daughter is gone. My home is destroyed. And from that moment, I decided that I really wanted to give back, but I didn't know how until years later when somebody suggested being a lone campaign rep. But as I was going through the lone campaign rep training and I realized that the Red Cross was one, I remembered thinking back in that day before I was even affiliated with United Way, how impressed I was that the Red Cross came to me. I just can't say that enough. They were there when I needed them, and they offered shelter and clothing and anything else I might need. You're looking at the face of a person that could be helped, who was helped by United Way funds.
We call it a turning point, a moment of truth, a moment when we realize how close the United Way stands next to us.
You would think, being a patrolman in the Lafayette Police Department, experiencing some pretty horrific things, that I would have a better understanding of some of the needs in our community, but I didn't. And working with the United Way, that really opened my eyes to some of the situations that not just our youth get into, but our elderly get into, some of the issues involving gaps in education. Obviously, the folks that are dealing with economic issues, people that live in the lower economic stratifications, people who don't have homes, people who don't have clean clothes, people that have no medical care, people who are just really in need that for some reason seem to fall sort of between the cracks.
I don't think there's anything that's not covered by our local United Way. If you don't speak the language, or if you have learning disabilities, if you need a place to stay, if you're escaping a horrible situation, there are so many organizations that can help. One of the absolute attributes that I love about this community is our very low barriers to entry. So if you want to become involved, all you have to do is raise your hand and say, hey, I think I would like to do something. Do you have any things? And there's going to be 55 people around the table going to be saying, yeah, you can help us to do this or that. I remember my mom sitting next to my bed in the hospital, and she said, you have so much support in this community that I don't have to worry about you. And I thought that was very telling for somebody completely unaffiliated with Lafayette, Indiana, to think her baby's okay, being in this community because of the support that I received.
It's like a moment of truth when we suddenly realize the United Way isn't what we always thought it was. That the person who benefits from our gift has a face. The face of someone who actually lives on our own street. Or even the face of someone we know personally. That's what makes giving to the United Way of Greater Lafayette so uniquely fulfilling. Now is your moment of truth. Give, advocate, volunteer to your United Way, your community.